It's nice to be reminded that there's some nice people out there in this world. I got no sleep last night. Welcome to my weekly show where I talk about the ups and downs and in-betweens of reselling on eBay. I sell on eBay part-time, and I do these shows to show you what's possible if you're looking to sell part-time on eBay as a side hustle. If you're just starting out on eBay, it's really easy to get intimidated. If you browse YouTube or Reddit or any other online forum about eBay, you tend to always see people talking about all the bad things that happen to them as sellers on eBay. But the thing is, nobody goes to YouTube or to the eBay forums or to Reddit to talk about the good things that happen as a seller or to talk about all of the transactions that go off without a hitch. And so if you're just starting out, it can feel like eBay is just filled with scams and you're always going to get taken advantage of as a seller. It's really not the case. People just go to YouTube or go to those forums to talk about all the bad things that happen. But this past week, I had a really nice thing happen. You may remember a few weeks back, I sold this Black & Decker snake light from the 90s. It was new in the package. I sold her for 50 bucks. I bought it at a garage sale for $5, and it never got scanned. When I drop my packages off at the post office, I never wait around to get them scanned. My post office is actually really good about it. They always scan it. But for some reason, this one package did not show up as a scan. Sometimes when that happens, I find out that I accidentally left it in the trunk of my car, but it was nowhere in my car. It was nowhere in my house. I went back to the post office. They didn't have record of it. And so about 3 weeks went by. I was discussing this with the buyer. Look, it never showed up with the scan. I don't know where it is. I opened up a missing package claim, and I just kind of figured it was gone. The buyer was really understanding, and he said, let's just wait and see if it shows up. I ended up just refunding him. It didn't show up. And then about 4 days after that, 4 days after I had refunded him, I got this message from the buyer. He says, hey, it actually did show up, if you can believe that. And so how can I pay you? So it was really awesome. Like, this buyer did not have to do that. They could have just stayed silent. I probably wouldn't have gone back and checked the tracking number, and they could have had this item for free. But it was really cool that they reached out. They said, how can I pay you? And this was a kind of a challenge, because how do you get paid in this situation? I did not want to try to set up a payment outside of eBay, because then, eBay reads your messages, and if they think that you're trying to set up a sell outside of eBay, that's grounds for termination, and they can just delete your account. And so, even though that wouldn't have been the case here, I didn't want them thinking I was trying to set up a sale outside of eBay. So what I ended up doing is just relisting this item. I put it at a really high number. I put it at $500 with best offers turned on, and I told the buyer, hey, go ahead and send me a best offer of the original price. I said, don't worry about the original shipping cost. I'll eat that since it took so long to get there. So he sent me an offer of $49.99, which was the original sale cost. I accepted the offer. Then I just manually marked it as shipped, and I pasted in the same exact tracking number that shows it delivered, and that was a way that I was able to get paid in this scenario. If you know a better way to get paid in that scenario, let me know. That was the best idea I could think of. So let's take a look at my numbers for the week. Looks like I sold $1,485 worth of inventory this week with a net income of only $837. So I was just over $1,000 net last week, so things are a little bit slower this week. Have things been slower for you? 751% ROI and just under a 50% profit margin over the last 7 days. Let's take a look at my listing numbers. I had 47 new listings and 38 sales. So again, a little bit slow. Usually I sell about 1-to-1. How many items I list is how many I sell, but that was a little bit low. And actually, if you look at this 90-day breakdown, you'll see some anomalies here. Typically, you'll see that the trends, the more that I list, the more that I sell. This was a vacation that I took, and so I trended downwards, turned sales off, was not listing anything, was obviously not selling anything on vacation, and then turned it back on. And then I had this early anomaly, which is I listed a bunch of stuff, but my sales actually went down. That was in early February. I think a lot of y'all were experiencing the same sort of February slowness that I was. And then things picked back up. But look again, I increased my listing volume here just slightly, but the sales went down here, 51 sales and 51 listings and only 31 sales. It's sort of back up to that, but my sales still are down a little bit from the previous week. But let's jump back up and turn that back on to the last 7 days. My average time to sell over the past week was 3 months, and I spent a total of $238 on new inventory over the past week. Looks like most of my inventory is coming from thrift stores here. I did list a bunch of personal stock stuff. That's because I went to thrift stores on Friday of this past week. I went to 3 of them and I walked away empty-handed from all 3. I can't remember the last time that I did that. It's common that I go to a thrift store and walk away empty-handed, but if I'm going to 3 and walking away empty-handed on all 3, that's pretty weird. And in fact, I've since gone to another thrift store, and so I've been to 4 thrift stores in a row and I still have not bought anything. And so I've been in a sourcing lull. Just have not been finding good inventory in this past week, and that's why my sales are suffering. I've just not listed as much, have not listed as much good inventory. I'm not finding as much good inventory, and I don't have a very good backlog of existing inventory right now. My death pile is pretty bare, which is a good thing, but it's sometimes handy to have a death pile because you can pull from that death pile when you go out sourcing and don't find much. All right, let's jump into the top 10 sales of the week. Coming in at number 10 is this vintage LL Bean canvas backpack. We bought this at a thrift store for $5. It took 6 days to sell for a total of $36.24. That's $29.25 sale price plus $6.99 in shipping. The cost to ship was $6.14. The total net return was $20.05. That's a 401% ROI. LL Bean's obviously a good brand to look out for. These backpacks can do really well. This was not the most valuable vintage backpack from LL Bean that we've ever bought, but it's a pretty cool one. I really like that logo on the bottom right-hand corner. And it was pretty quick to sell, so not bad for the 10th best flip of the week. Coming in at number 9 is this Harley-Davidson mechanical work shirt. So Harley-Davidson obviously is a great brand. Anytime I see Harley-Davidson clothing, I typically pick it up, especially if they're these mechanic shirts, these collared shirts, and often they have embroidery on the front and even on the back. I got this at a garage sale a while ago. Yeah, July 16th. Bought it for $5. Looks like it's gone through one return here, but even with that return, my total net is $19.57. You'll see I sold this back in August and had to refund it for $39.99, had to pay $5.17 for a return shipping label because I offer free returns. After I got it back, I relisted it and it just sold on a best offer for $35 plus $4.99 in shipping. And my net return on this sale was $24.92, but the overall net return on this, including all of the return fees and the shipping label cost, was $19.57. So even with a return, I still made some money. Not bad. Harley-Davidson's a great brand to look out for in the clothing space. Make sure you give it the smell test, though. I find that Harley-Davidson stuff often smells like cigarettes, so you got to be careful. This one was good to go, though. Next on the list is this Nolan Ryan Rawlings baseball glove. So now is the time to be picking up baseball gloves. These, I don't have a whole lot in stock. The stuff I do have in stock is selling very quickly because we're on the cusp of baseball season and softball season. So people are out there looking for gloves. Where did I get this one? I got this one at Savers and I paid $2.79. Sold on eBay for $41.49 total. Took 25 days. My net return for the 9th best flip of the week was $27.21. That's a 975% ROI. Baseball gloves are a category. Usually you hear me on the show say the vast majority of something is not worth it when you see it. Baseball gloves are different. I find the majority of baseball gloves are usually worth picking up, especially if they're priced well. If they're priced around the $5 mark, it's very rare that I pick one up and look it up and it's not worth getting. And so my advice to you is to pretty much always buy baseball gloves when you see it. You want to check and make sure that they're real leather. Sometimes, especially the kids' gloves are not real leather, and you'll see some like flaking on the fake leather. Those I don't pick up, but adult baseball gloves that are actual leather, it's very rare that I look and they're not worth picking up. So I definitely encourage you to get them, and especially right now, it's the right time to do it. Coming in at number 7 is this Luminous Air Icon Airbrush Makeup System. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what this is, but I found it in an estate sale in a closet. What did I pay for it? I don't remember. $6. Obviously, it's some sort of airbrush makeup. I don't know if it's an actual airbrush, like the actual device. I don't know if it's the makeup that goes into an airbrush device. I don't really know, but you don't have to know what it is in order to sell it. In this case, I sold it for $49.99. Free shipping. My net return was $29.15. ROI on that was 486%. This was just, there's certain things that just stick out to me, and I knew that this was going to be valuable. It had its plastic packaging around it. It was only $5. I didn't even look it up. I knew that it was going to be worth something. It was worth $50, and it took 27 days to sell. So coming in at number 6 is this Faraday Aztec print shirt. I got this at a garage sale for $15 just a few weeks ago. It took 9 days to sell for a total of $63.98. That's $56.99 plus $6.99 in shipping. The net return is $33.48 and a 223% ROI. So a little bit lower ROI because my purchase price was up there, but Faraday's a great brand to look out for. In fact, I'm going to show you the logo so that you can see it and know to pick it up if you find it out. Where is that logo? Yeah, right there. That's the logo you want to look out for. This brand is very good if you can find it. Very good sell-through rate. People like this brand, so definitely pick it up if you find it. Coming in at number 5 is this Vuori, I think I'm pronouncing that right. These are joggers. These are just pants. Vuori is an incredibly good brand. I have a shirt from them, and I know it was expensive, and it's just a really soft and good feeling shirt. And so when we were at a thrift store, my wife found this. The vast majority of leggings you get at a thrift store are going to be not worth picking up to resell, but these just felt different. The material has a very soft quality to it, and it just stands out from the other leggings on the rack. And so that's how we knew to pick this one up, but we also knew about the brand already. But it sold in 3 days for $56.98. That's a net return of $36.88 and an ROI just shy of 500%. What did we pay for this? Yeah, we paid $7.50, so not bad. But yeah, Vuori. Let me show you the logo on that as well here. Yeah, right there. So really unassuming logo. You're unless you know this brand specifically, you're probably not going to know that it's actually worth the kind of money that it's worth. But if you were to feel this, I guarantee you, if you put this next to a standard set of leggings, you would be able to tell the difference, and you would know that this thing had more value. So really trust your senses, not just look, but trust the feel of something and run your hands across it. And often you'll pick out items that are going to be worth more money just by touch alone. Coming in at number 4 is this Scotty Vest hoodie. So Scotty Vest is a brand that makes clothing that has like a ton of pockets in it. Fun fact, I actually went on a round the world trip sponsored by Scotty Vest back in 2010. The idea was that we wore Scotty Vest clothing that has all these pockets, and we did not carry any luggage at all whatsoever around the world for 6 weeks. So we went to something like 19 different countries and filmed a documentary the entire time. This was back in 2010, sponsored by Scotty Vest. So when I saw this brand, I knew Scotty Vest. I knew that it was a kind of a high dollar brand. This thing, what did I pay for it? I paid $14.80 for it. It sold in 4 days for $66.98. The net return on this is $37.27 for a 252% ROI. Again, Scotty Vest is just a great brand to look out for. They make a bunch of high-end clothing like jackets and hoodies and shirts and pants and all sorts of things. And all of them are just filled with a variety of pockets to store all sorts of stuff in it. Coming in at number 3 is this ECX brand Ruckus remote control car. Y'all might remember a few weeks ago at a garage sale. It's actually the first garage sale of the season. I found a big bucket of remote control cars. This was one of those. I'm selling these. This may be one of the last ones. They're all selling pretty quick. This one went in 2 days for $74.98. $42.46 net return on an ROI of over 2,000%. That's because the purchase price was so low. I have this big bucket of RC cars that I paid $20 total. And so I just broke down the cost of all of those in that bucket and gave a cost of goods equal across all the units. So very, very good buy here. I've made hundreds of dollars on this already. This is also the garage sale where I found the Air-On chair for $5. I've been using that for the past week. It's a really nice chair. But yeah, I didn't have a good way to test these things, so I listed them all untested, and that doesn't seem to matter at all. They're all sort of flying off the shelves. This is one of the last ones. Coming in at number 2 is this St. Louis Junior Football League inaugural season leather football. This is a weird one. I got this at an estate sale a super long time ago. Only paid $1 for it. I didn't even know what JFL was. It turns out it's kind of like Pop Warner. So it's like or Little League. It's like a kids league of football that used to exist here in St. Louis. I don't think it exists anymore, but it was a really fun story how I sold this one. And so I had a buyer reach out to me asking, "Are you in St. Louis?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Can you do a local pickup? Because I need this pretty quickly." I typically don't do local pickups. I just find it annoying to have to arrange a time and go meet somebody. That's why I don't sell on Facebook Marketplace very often. I just like to sell stuff, ship it off, and be done with it. But they reached out, and I said, "Okay, fine, sure, we'll meet up." And so we did, and the woman that I sold it to, her kids play football in the league of which the JFL was the predecessor to. And so I don't remember what the league is called now, but anyway, she was making coaches gifts for her kids' team. And the coaches, it was their last season. And so she was going to take this football and kind of chop it up and turn it into some little memento keepsakes, like keychains, with pieces of the leather on it. And I thought that was a really cool use of this football to commemorate their coach's season with a piece of history like that. And it's one reason why I really like selling stuff on eBay. When I picked this up at an estate sale for $1, I had no idea if it had any value. There was no comps on eBay for it. It has been listed for 9 months. And it's just really cool to connect with another person out there who finds value in what you have and is going to do something with it that means something. And it's really cool. I really like that aspect of selling on eBay. I also like the aspect of making money. I sold this for $64.50, net return of $53.14, obviously a $0 cost to ship there, 5,314% ROI for the second best flip of the week, this really old football here. That leaves us with number 1, this Sony Pressman handheld microcassette recorder. If y'all watched last week's video, maybe it was the week before, I can't remember, you'll know I picked this up at a Goodwill for $5, sorry. It sold for a total of $209.98, that's including shipping. My net return on it for the best flip of the week was $171.05. These cassette recorders, voice recorders, just do really, really well. Even if this thing was out of the packaging and in used condition, it would have been $30 to $50 at least. And so at a $5 price point, it's definitely worth picking up. New in the package, I knew it was going to be worth a lot of money. 1, Sony's a great brand to buy. 2, it's a vintage item in the packaging. 3, people, they don't make these anymore. It's kind of like finding a VCR new in the packaging. I usually sell these to law offices, and I looked up the address. It was not a law office, but it was definitely a business I sold this to. So glad to get it out of the house. Only took 5 days, made $171.05 for the best flip of the week. Look out for video cassette recorders. They can be amazing money. Let's check out some of the worst sales of the week. We'll just flip this net return around. Looks like I've got the worst sale of the week was this Breville espresso machine control knob. So I actually bought this Breville I bought this Breville espresso machine a couple months ago. It was the whole unit. I had a pretty good hunch it was not going to be in working order. It wasn't, and so I ended up parting it all out and giving an even cost of goods to everything within. So this thing has a high cost of goods of $10. That's why it's so low on the net return. The reality is this was like a freebie. I could have thrown it away. I gave it a split cost of goods with everything else. What else was a not very good sell? Here we go. A Harry Potter book that I've had for a while that sold for $13.50 free shipping. I ended up getting a net return of $3.63. What else didn't do so hot? Yeah, a lot of 2 Nintendo Wii console stands. So this is the thing that the Wii console sits on so that it stands upright. I just had these laying around. I figured I might as well sell them. $11.69 free shipping. $3.85 net return. I would have never bought these on their own, but because I had them, they came with a lot of video game accessories and consoles and games. I figured might as well sell them. I made $3.85 on it. May not have been worth the effort to package it up, but whatever. Every little bit helps. This Harley-Davidson mug just sold for $18.50 for a net return of $4.15. Mugs are like my weak spot. I love buying and collecting mugs. Very often, they're just not really worth it, though. They usually end up being just over £1, and so they're more expensive to ship, but I have a soft spot for them. I just can't leave behind a cool mug. This is a cool one, the cool Harley-Davidson. It was embossed on the side. I paid $3 for it. I only made $4.15 on it. It's really hard for me to not buy mugs. I know that they're not going to be good money makers, but I just like doing it. So back at the numbers here, $1,485 in gross income this week, net income of $837, about $200 less in net income than I had last week. So, but things are still ramping up. How am I doing for March? I think I'm doing pretty good month to date on this. So I've grossed $2,670 so far and had a net of $1,445, and we're getting close to the midway point. And so I'll probably end up with about $3,000 or $4,000 in net income for March, but we'll see. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. If you like these types of videos, please hit that subscribe button. If you can't wait for next week's videos, you can check out the last 2 weeks of my This Week in Flip videos right here and right here. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Thank you.